What if I told you that your soul leaves behind signs when it rises? Not in the sky, not in some distant heaven, but right here, in the way you feel, in the way life unfolds around you. For centuries, mystics and sages whispered of a hidden journey, a path where the human spirit ascends step by step, shedding old skins and stepping closer to its true essence. They said, "You won't need anyone to tell you. You'll know it because the universe itself begins to reflect back. Time feels different. Emotions deepen. Patterns you once ignored start to glow with meaning. These are not random moments, they are markers of transformation. Today we will uncover 5 timeless signs that reveal your soul is not standing still, but rising. Signs that were recorded in ancient scrolls, echoed in sacred traditions, and still visible in everyday life, if you learn how to see. The first sign is subtle, but once noticed, it changes everything. The first sign your soul is rising is this: silence no longer feels empty. What once was loneliness now becomes a sanctuary. In the beginning, silence feels threatening, because in silence you cannot run, you cannot distract, you cannot hide. But as your soul awakens, that same silence begins to feed you. You sit alone, yet you don't feel abandoned. You feel accompanied by something greater. Call it spirit, call it source, call it the eternal witness. The noise of the world fades, and the space within becomes alive. The sages of every tradition knew this. When solitude transforms into sacred presence, you are no longer afraid of being with yourself. Instead, you begin to cherish it. This shift marks the first step of rising. Silence is no longer a void, it is a doorway. And when you walk through it, you discover that solitude is not absence, it is communion. The second sign your soul is rising is this: the past begins to loosen its grip. The people, habits, and stories that once defined you start to fall away. At first it feels unsettling, like losing a part of yourself, but in truth you are shedding what no longer serves you. Think of a snake releasing its old skin. What looks like death is actually renewal. You may find friendships fading, desires dissolving, even parts of your identity crumbling. And yet, deep within, there is no regret. There is relief. Your soul knows that in order to rise, you cannot carry everything with you. To climb, you must release. The sages taught, clinging to the past is like holding onto ashes. Nothing can grow there. When you let go, space opens. Space for new wisdom, new love, new life. This release is not a loss. It is a sacred exchange, the weight of yesterday for the lightness of becoming. If these signs spoke to you, don't let them fade. Carry them forward. Share this video, subscribe for more hidden wisdom, and keep walking the path of awakening. Your soul is rising, and the journey has only just begun. The third sign your soul is rising is this: you begin to see the sacred everywhere. The ordinary no longer feels ordinary. A tree is not just wood and leaves, it breathes with life. A stranger's glance carries meaning. Even silence begins to speak. This shift doesn't come from imagination. It comes from perception deepened by presence. Ancient mystics called it seeing with the inner eye, a vision that reveals the divine woven into everything. You may notice patterns in nature, symbols in dreams, synchronicities that feel too precise to be chance. These are not accidents. They are messages, reminders that spirit is not separate from the world. It animates it. To the unawakened, life looks random, mechanical. To the rising soul, every moment vibrates with purpose. The veil between the visible and invisible thins, and you begin to live not in a world of objects, but in a field of living symbols. The fourth sign your soul is rising. Obstacles no longer feel like punishments. They become teachers. What once seemed like bad luck, betrayal, or loss now appears as a hidden invitation. The breakup that shattered you, it taught you self-worth. The failure that embarrassed you, it redirected your path. Ancient Stoics and Eastern sages agreed. Life's challenges are not accidents, but curriculum. Each obstacle carries a lesson, tailored precisely to your growth. When the soul rises, you stop asking, "Why me?" and start asking, what is this teaching me? You begin to see that resistance builds strength, just as fire forges steel. The very pain you once ran from becomes the medicine that awakens you. To the unconscious, hardship is cruelty. To the rising soul, hardship is initiation. And with each trial you find yourself less bitter, more open, and strangely grateful. For even the darkest nights carry seeds of light. The fifth sign your soul is rising. You begin to live from your inner truth, no longer chained to approval, applause, or the masks society hands you. You feel a quiet courage to speak what is real, even if your voice shakes. You stop chasing roles and expectations because you finally see they were never yours. Instead, you align with the deeper current of your being. Some call it authenticity. Mystics call it the divine spark. Whatever the name, it feels like freedom. Suddenly, saying no to what drains you and yes to what lights you up feels natural, effortless. You no longer need validation because your compass is within. This is why ancient masters said the highest form of success is to obey the truth of your own soul. Living from this truth doesn't make life easier, it makes it meaningful. And in that meaning, joy begins to bloom, not as a fleeting emotion, but as the steady pulse of your existence. So, let us gather the 5 signs once more. First, silence becomes your ally, not your fear. Second, the past falls away, like an old skin you no longer need. Third, you begin to see the sacred in all things, in the wind, in a stranger's eyes, even in your own breath. Fourth, life's obstacles no longer appear as enemies, but as teachers, shaping you into who you truly are. And fifth, you live from inner truth, guided not by approval, but by the compass of your soul. These are not just steps, they are transformations. Each sign whispers that your soul is not bound to the weight of the world, but rising beyond it. And here lies the hidden secret. The signs don't come all at once. They come quietly, sometimes unnoticed, until one day you realize you are no longer the same. You are lighter, freer, closer to the essence of who you've always been. The soul does not climb a ladder. It simply remembers its wings. The mystics always whispered of a hidden truth. Signs are not the destination, but the doorway. Silence, release, sacred vision, the teaching of obstacles, inner truth. These are milestones, but the journey is greater still. The soul's rising is not measured by what you achieve, but by what you remember. Ancient sages wrote that when the soul ascends, time itself bends. What once felt like suffering reveals itself as guidance. What once felt like emptiness becomes fullness. The real secret is this: your soul has never stopped rising. Even in moments of despair, it was moving upward, waiting for you to notice. To see the signs is powerful. To live them, this is transformation. And when you do, life is no longer something that happens to you. It becomes something that awakens through you. Which of these 5 signs do you feel most strongly in your own life right now? Silence, letting go, sacred presence, learning from obstacles, or living your inner truth? And do you believe a soul can fall as well as rise?